Alright, what's up guys? VV back with another video, and it is time to go over all of the green cards in OP10. Alright, I have done the leaders now, I've done the red cards, I will link those in the comment section below, but now we are on the green cards, so let's just dive straight into it. That's going to be the overwhelming majority of this video, but at the very end, I will still have one game on the sim of red, yellow, Belo Betty. Okay, so if you're not really interested in going over the cards like this, skip to the end so you can check out the gameplay. Alright, okay guys, I'll have everything timestamped in the general description. I'll have all relevant deck lists and links in the comment section below, so you know what you're getting into, guys. Let's do this, let's get into it. Excuse me. So first up here we got Issho. This is a 5-cost, 6,000 power character, green, Dressrosa Navy, with the effect of on play, if your leader has the Navy type, rest up to 2 of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less. Guys, that's a pretty strong effect, to be honest. Rest up to 2 of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less. So immediately what jumps into my head is green-black Issho. But just generally speaking, this is a very high-value card. Because think about playing it out on tempo. If you're playing against a deck that's trying to build up a little bit of a board, maybe, I don't know, maybe it's like Dofi or something. Not the best example, but I don't know. That actually is a decent example. So hear me out, guys. If Dofi goes first, right? Or excuse me, we go first and Dofi goes second. So on turn 1, maybe they play a Searcher, who cares? Turn 2, they play out Jinbei into an Edward Weevil. Well, with an effect like this, we can actually tap both down and try to swing into it with what's on the board. Now, yeah, the 6k body will be hard to swing into, but we can start getting some cards out of their hand by swinging into the Jinbei, as opposed to swinging into life and giving them cards to their hand. So I do think this is actually a very, very strong card. Okay, I would rate this like a 7.5, maybe an 8 out of 10. Green is starting off strong, guys, because this is a really solid card. It will be good in Issho, in green-black Issho, like I said. Maybe green-red Smoker, the new red-green Smoker leader that came out, that's coming out in OP10 with this card. But yeah, I really like this. You guys tell me what y'all think about this one in the comment section below. I'm going to give this like an 8 out of 10. I'm actually going to give it an 8 out of 10. Really, really nice. And I really like the artwork. Very cool style. Okay, next up we have Edward Newgate. This is a 5-cost, 6,000 power, 1,000 counter character with Odyssey, 4 Emperors, and Whitebeard types. Okay, it's got quite a bit of types. In fact, yeah, Issho only had 2 types, Dressrosa, Navy. Dressrosa is interesting, but it has Dressrosa and Navy. And this Edward Newgate has Odyssey, 4 Emperors, and Whitebeard Pirates. So this is a 5-cost 6k, like I said, with a 1k counter. The on-play is if you have 2 or more rested characters, rest up to 1 of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less, then KO up to 1 of your opponent's rested characters with a cost of 3 or less. Okay, so this is the Odyssey theme cards. I don't think this is bad. Let me say that right up front. I do not think this is like a bad card by any means. But at the same time, excuse me, Odyssey has some pretty decent cards. So I don't know, maybe this is kind of decent because you can rest down a 5 or less. That's already good. And remember, guys, you'll be able to cheat this card out with the leader limb. So you're going to be able to cheat this card out, rest down a 5 or less, and then pop a 3 or less that's rested, right? A rested character that costs 3 or less. So potentially, if say you're going second, let's just use that let's just use that as an example. If they go, you know, turn 1 pass, turn 2 swing, play out a 3 cost 5k or something, you would be able to follow up with this on your 4 dawn turn. You would be able to first of all just swing 6 with your leader, right? And then with the remaining 3 dawn, cheat this card out. Well, no, it says if you have 2 or more rested characters. So it's a little tricky. I guess if we were able to get out a character on turn 1, excuse me, if we could have gotten out a character on turn 1 or 2 dawn turn, then this might have worked how I was saying. But, you know, whatever the case is, the character's pretty decent. Maybe it's not the best character to play out on curve. However, maybe it's like a good 1 or 2 of in the Odyssey type of deck. So I'm going to give this one like, it has KO built in and it can rest a 5 or less. I'm going to give this card a 7 out of 10. I think it's still like a pretty solid card. But it might take a certain deck to break it. And it might also take, you know, a specific kind of board state. So it's a little bit technical, but still a pretty solid card overall. And at the end of the day, even if you're not using it for the effect, in the deck that this would be run in, typically speaking, with Lim, this is just a 5-cost 6K for... It's a 3-cost 6K in that deck, right? With potential upside later in the game. So, really solid card. Okay, next up, we got another Odyssey card. They're giving Lim a lot of support, guys. So this is Enel. This is a 5-cost, 6,000 power character with a 1K counter. It is an Odyssey Sky Island type of character. Excuse me. The effect is on play if you have 2 or more rested characters, draw 3 cards and trash 2 cards. This is really nice. This is a really nice card. Probably good on like your 3rd turn, because turn 1, I think, unless they find... I'll have to see what people are running. But because we are starting to see some decks come in with, using the new green-purple Lim Odyssey engine in OP10 in the East, okay? I'll have to see what they're running. But generally speaking, if you're going to go like turn 2, play out some kind of cheat out a 5-cost character, whatever it might be. But then on turn 3, if it survived, if that character survived, smash in, do whatever, make sure it's rested, and then play out Enel, and then all of a sudden, you're going to be able to draw 3, trash 2 on your turn 3, and develop a 5-cost 6K body. Seems really good. Like this card, I'm a big fan of this card. Draw 3, trash 2, we'll take that every time. It's a little bit situational, but I don't think it's impossible to, pull off. So let's go ahead and give this one we'll give this one a score. I'm going to give it like an 8 out of 10, guys. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, it's still a 5-cost 6K you're cheating out. And the on-play effect, draw 3, trash 2. I mean, this is a Shirahoshi, right? Shirahoshi, just to put this card into perspective, guys, Shirahoshi is a 5-cost 0 power 1K counter with draw 3, trash 2. However, she has trigger to cheat it in and play as well. This guy doesn't have the trigger to cheat it in, but it could be cheat in, like you can cheat it in with the leader's effect. So I'm going to give this card like an 8 out of 10. I think this card is really good, maybe even 8.5 out of 10. Really solid card. Okay, next up, it looks like Nami, but okay, I see. If you look at the picture, all right, I see. So this is Kinemon. This is a 2-cost, 1,000 power, 1K counter character card. Punk Hazard, Land of Wano, Akazaya 9. This is a Kinemon card, and it looks like it's just his torso, and Nami's trying to save him from a shark. That's what the picture looks like, guys. I'm just telling you what I see. But let's see what it does. It's a 2-cost, 1,000 power, 1K counter. Activate main. You may place this character and 1 Kinemon with 0 power from your trash at the bottom of your deck in any order. Play up to 1 Kinemon with a cost of 6 from your hand. Okay, so I think it's pretty obvious what's going on here, right? So it looks like you're going to be able to combine 2 pieces to cheat out the 6-cost Kinemon. Is that what's going on here? And if I'm not mistaken, guys, we'll look it up in a minute, but I'm pretty sure the other Kinemon can cheat characters into play. The 6-cost one from, what is it, like OP01 or OP02, the original 6-cost Kinemon character. That seems pretty good for if you make a deck specifically built around that. This is Akazaya 9, so it is, it's all part of that theme, and Land of Wano, of course. So, this is pretty cool. This is a pretty cool card. And it's grabbing cards from your trash in the green color pool, which is interesting. So again, let me read that part again. You may place this character in 1 Kinemon with 0 power. Okay, so there must be something like that we're about to go over in this, this review of the green cards for OP10. Because otherwise, I don't know of one. 1 Kinemon with 0 power from your trash at the bottom of your deck in any order. So place a 0 power Kinemon from your trash at the bottom of your deck in any order, and then play out the 6-cost Kinemon. And you'll place this card and the other one. Pretty cool. Okay, I'm just going to give this like this is a very situational card. Let me say that right now, and it doesn't have a ton of upside other than the fact that, okay, it's easy to get the other half in the trash by just countering out, right? Well, I mean, assuming the 0 power other part has a 1K counter on it as well. Let me see. Oh, nice. So they had them right next to right next to each other. Check this out, guys. We have to read these like together before I rate them. Excuse me. This is a 2-cost 0 power 2K counter Kinemon, Punk Hazard, Land of Wano, Akazaya 9. Activate main. you may place this character and one Kinemon with 1,000 power from your trash at the bottom of your deck in any order. Play up to one Kinemon with a cost of 6 from your hand. Okay, so now it's starting to make a lot more sense. This is going to be a good way to just cheat out a character, a 6-cost character for 2, right? Because they're both 2-cost, right? Yeah, they're both 2-cost characters. This is a 1k counter, and this is a 2k counter, okay? I'm a big fan of this, but how often are we going to be able to pull it off? Like, I mean, it feels like you're going to have all these different pieces in order to make it work. But, you know, there are some pretty good green searchers within Land of Wano right now. Like, because they have, number one, they have Momonosuke, the 1-cost, pay 1, tap, top 5 search, like Jewelry Bonnie. But then they also have the 1-cost 2k counter Otama that can also do a top 5 search for green Land of Wano cards. So that could be pretty interesting. So it looks like Kinemon's getting a little bit of support here, and that might help it out quite a bit. We'll have to see how this goes. I'm actually very curious to see how people mess around with this idea. So I'm going to judge both of them together because you have to. They're literally made for each other. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to give this like I think it's like a 6.5 out of 10. The card it's cheating out is very good. The card it's cheating out is probably like a 7 or a 7.5 out of 10, the 6-cost one. But this little combo here in particular, it probably is going to be more consistent than it seems, guys. Because remember, you have some really strong searching going on. You just need to have like 1 or 2 of the pieces and then search for the other one. Or search for the other 2, draw them from life, whatever. So, pretty cool. I'm not going to lie. This is pretty cool. I'm going to give this like a 6.5 out of 10, though. Because it's a little bit... It feels a little bit janky, but we'll see. Maybe it's super consistent. We'll have to see. Okay, then we have Kazuki Momonosuke here. This is a 1-cost, 1,000 power, 1k counter, green, Punk Hazard, Land of Wano, Kazuki clan type, with Activate main. Okay, hang on. Is this like another searcher? You may rest 2 of your Dawn cards and trash this character. Look at 5 cards from the top of your deck. Reveal up to 2 Akazaya 9 type cards and add them to your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. Okay, so that starts making this look much more possible. This whole Kinemon combo. I still think those cards are what they are. I think they're still just like a 6 or a 6.5 out of 10 because it requires so much setup. You're basically building your deck around the 3 cards we just saw. You're building a deck around Kinemon. It's like Kinemon Part 1, Kinemon Part 2, and then Kazuki Momonosuke. And how good will that be? That's the question. I don't think it'll be bad, by the way. But remember, every card we just played out is gone. Like, you'll play this out and use this from the trash to cheat out the 6-cost. Well, these 2 pieces go away. They go to the bottom of your deck, right? And then with this Kazuki Momonosuke card, you have to rest 2 Dawn and trash this character to do the top 5 search to get 2 Akazaya 9 cards and add them to your hand. So, I still think it's really good. This is a great searcher for Akazaya 9. For a searcher... So I usually give searchers like a 7 or a 7.5 out of 10. I think this is like an 8 or 8.5 out of 10 for a searcher. However, again, like what you're searching up in this situation is going to be very situational. We'll have to see how much support it has now and how much support it's going to be getting in this set and in the future. But I'll give this like an 8 out of 10. I'll give this card an 8 out of 10 for a searcher. Okay, really cool looking art here. We got Dracula Mihawk. We got a 5-cost, 6,000 power, 1k counter. Odyssey, 7 Warlords of the Sea type character. Okay, 7 Warlords of the Sea. Of course, my green-blue Zanji mind is starting to tick now. It's starting to the gears are starting to turn. On play, if you have 2 or more rested characters, set up to 1 of your rested Odyssey-type characters with a cost of 5 or less as active. Oh, man. What a bummer. I was hoping that would be just a generic effect, you know, that forces you to have 2 or more rested characters. But I think it's still pretty good. Who knows? Maybe in the future, if there's going to be something for green-blue Zanji, maybe Odyssey is in the future for that leader. I'll have to mess around with that and see if it's possible. But generally speaking, this is still a very good card in Lim. It's a 5-cost, 6k, 1k counter, very standard. You're cheating this out for 3 Dawn. Remember that, guys. These are really 3-cost 6ks with 1k counters. And listen to what they do. On play effect, like this one in particular, if you have 2 or more rested characters... And remember, Lim rests your character as it comes into play, so this body would count towards that when you play it. Set up to 1 of your rested Odyssey-type characters with the cost of 5 or less as active. So this is really good, right? This is going to allow you to attack twice with a character. So this is a very, very strong card. I'm going to give this an 8.5 out of 10. This card is excellent, guys. This is a really strong card. Okay, we got an SR here. This is Smoker. This is a 5-cost 7K, no counter, so it must have a pretty strong effect here. Actually, the stats are already good enough. It is a Punk Hazard Navy type. The effect is Banish. Activate main, set up to one of your Dawn cards as active. Then you cannot set Dawn cards as active using character effects during this turn. So that's obviously put into place for if you have like multiple smokers on the board. Then you won't be able to just use, like if you get 3 or 4 smokers down, you're not going to be able to get 3 or 4 free Dawn every single turn. And it would be even more than that with the leader effect, right? So this card right here is awesome. I don't see a downside because this is at least, hang on, activate main, set up to one of your Dawn cards as active. Then you cannot set Dawn cards as active using character effects during this turn. So honestly, this is pretty much a 4-cost 7K with Banish because you're going to play this down, set one of the Dawn as active. It's like a 4-cost 7K with Banish. Now, yes, of course, you still have to have the 5-cost, to start doing it. It's not, you can't play it out on your 4-Dawn turn. But still, this card is really, really strong, guys. I'm a huge fan of this. 5-cost, 7,000 power with Banish. Yeah, say less. Like, that's all I needed to hear. This is a really powerful effect. And plus, you're also standing up Dawn. This is a 9 out of 10, guys. Green got some crazy cards. So far, guys, OP10 green cards are outrageously good. Like, they seem so strong. I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10. I think this card is so good. I mean, some people might argue it doesn't really do much to the board itself. Sure, maybe you can drop it down to like a 7.5 minimum, because I just don't see it going anything under 7.5. But if you want to, if I were to meet like in the middle of the road somewhere around 8, sure. But I think this card is outstanding. It is a 5-cost 7K, already on par with the vanilla. Has Banish built in, and when it comes into play, you get a 1 Dawn refund. And then, like I said, this with your leader. Okay, let's put it into perspective here, guys. We do have to go back to Red Green Smoker real quick. Y'all bear with me as we zip back here. So notice the second effect on Smoker, and I have already gone over these leaders, guys. I'll link that in the comment section below if you have not already seen what I've said about these. This is an activate main once per turn. If you have a character with 7,000 power or more, set up to 2 of your Dawn cards as active. So in other words, now let's go back to Smoker. So this is a 7,000 power character. So if you're on the odd curve, you go 1, 3, 5. For your 5 Dawn turn, you can slam this character down for 5. There's all your Dawn used, right? Well, you're going to get 2 back from your leader and then 1 back from this effect. You still have 3 Dawn to play with. So yeah, I'm going to have to say that like this card in context, even in a vacuum, I like to always say that, like I try to judge these cards in a vacuum. Yeah, this card's like at least, for me, it's at least an 8 out of 10 at the bare minimum, but I'm going to lean towards 8.5 or 9 out of 10. Really, really strong card. Okay, and we got some alt art here. Very good. Really cool stuff. And this is more of that Punk Hazard shenanigans going on where you got the body swapping going on because this should be Tashigi. Okay, really cool. Okay, next up we have Sengoku. This is just a 5-cost 7K, 1K counter. It is Dressrosa Navy type. 5 out of 10. I give all vanillas the exact same score, whether they're 5-cost 7Ks or 1-cost 3Ks. I know some people have asked me to change that a little bit, but that's just the way that I see it, guys. That's just my grading system. But I do get where people are coming from. Okay, next up is Tashigi. In Punk Hazard Smoker mode. This is a 3-cost, 4,000 power, 2K counter. Okay, I'm listening. I'm already listening. You're saying a 3-cost, 4,000 power, 2K counter character? Didn't we just talk about this, guys? Didn't we just talk about this combo right here? Where it's like, okay, for 5 Dawn, on our 5 Dawn turn, we play this character out, set 2 rested Dawn as active with the leader effect, set another one with this effect, and then we can play out a 3-cost character here. It's a 3-cost 4K with a 2K counter. Let's see what it does. Punk Hazard Navy searchable. If you have a green character other than Tashigi that would be removed from the field excuse me, by your opponent's effect, you may rest this character instead. Not remove this character instead, but rest this character instead. Wow, guys, this card, this is a very strong 2K counter, and it was literally built with I think with the idea we were just talking about with Smoker. That seems incredibly powerful and thematic. I'm going to go, okay, just so everyone's aware, every 2K counter, I give at least a 7 or a 7.5 out of 10. Bare minimum, because a 2K counter gets 2K counter value in no matter what deck you're running, right? So this starts at a 7.5, but then after that effect and this stat line, it's a 3 cost 4K. Guys, I mean, I've seen 4 cost 4Ks, 5 cost 5K 2K counters do less. At least I feel like they have, like Virgo or something. You know, not to say that it's a bad card, but I feel like this effect is so much more practical. Yeah, I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10. Guys, I'm going crazy today. This is like, all these incredibly powerful, solid green cards are messing up my ranking system, you know, because I usually give like maybe 1 or 2, 8 or 9 out of 10s per video, like per review, per color review. And I've never given out of 10. I've never given out of 10 out of 10. We got to say that just for the best card ever printed or something. But guys, this right here, this is really strong. This is a 2K counter at the least. At the bare minimum, it's a 2K counter. And then other than that, it's a 3 cost 4K that's protecting your board. And when they go to remove something on your board, this doesn't get KO'd or trashed like Rosinante. This just rests, and then they can swing into it. But sure, now it's eating 2 attacks or 2 effects, you know. Really, really powerful. Okay, so really good stuff here. I am a big fan of this one. One thing I do need to think about real quick, though, I might drop it down to an 8 out of 10. You may rest this character instead. So if the character's already rested, hang on. So if you have a green character other than Tashigi that would be removed from the field by your opponent's effect, you may rest this character instead. Okay, so if they do have a way to already rest the character, then they'll probably be able to do what they were trying to do. But either way, this is still a really good card. I will drop it down. I'll give this an 8 out of 10 because it's not just 100% protection. Because if they rest this down, I don't think the effect works. You guys tell me if I'm wrong on that in the comment section below. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I'm pretty sure. Really, really good card, though. I'm going to stick with an 8 out of 10. I had to drop it down from a 9, guys. We'll go 8 out of 10. Very strong card. Okay, and there's the alt art for it. I think all SRs have alt arts, right? Is that how it is now? I'm pretty sure. Really good. I like that sword, by the way. The sword looks really good. Very good angle on it. Okay, we got a 2 cost, 2,000 power, 2K counter Nami here. Odyssey Straw Hat Crew type. On play, if you have 2 or more rested Odyssey type characters. Okay, hang on. On play, if you have 2 or more rested Odyssey type characters, up to 1 of your opponent's rested Dawn cards will not become active in your opponent's next refresh phase. Okay, that's pretty good. That's really not bad. Very cool. Okay, yeah, I think so. Sorry, guys, I'm just trying to process this. So I guess, like, even in our example earlier, I think I was talking about an example with, yeah, but this card won't survive. Never mind. I was going to say, like, if you wanted to play this out early to try to get off an effect next turn, there's, like, no way it's going to survive, right? Because the opponent will just attack into this. So, very interesting. But, all right, let's get back to it here. I know I'm doing a lot of brainstorming. Hopefully you guys are following what I'm saying here. I was referring back to the Edward Newgate that we looked at earlier. I was saying if you play out a character early on, and then you might be able to get the effect off on curve, but probably not, because if you play out this character, your opponent is going to smash into this, I think. I mean, if they don't, then I guess you're going to get away with it. Who knows? Maybe then it acts as an early 2K counter anyway, because you counter out of their attack, you know, by using this character. But I'm not sure. It's hard to say. Let me just say this. This is a solid 2K counter. It's Odyssey. It's Straw Hat Crew. It's like perfectly statted 2 cost, 2,000 power, 2K counter. And the on play can be relevant. If you're trying to keep your opponent from going to 10 Dawn, very, very relevant, right? Good stuff. Now, one thing I will say about the art. Okay, I hate to be critical, but we have like some type of problem with foreshortening. And it does have to do with this area right in between her hands. If you guys can see what's going on here, right around here. It looks like the object, okay, in the what should be the background is larger than the object in the foreground, the one closer to the viewer. A little bit going on there when it comes to perspective, and I hate to be critical. This is still an absolutely incredible looking piece. Looks really good. But man, when I first saw this, I thought, no, this can't be right. This can't be right. But there seems like there's a little bit of a foreshortening problem going on right in this region right here. Okay? All right, good stuff. Okay, next. Oh, what did we get this card? It's a 2K counter. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10 because I always give 2K counters at least a 7 out of 10 because they're always they always have bare minimum 2K counter value. Okay, next up we have Franky here. Another Odyssey card, guys. Lim got 2 sets in a row of support. They're really trying to push Odyssey. So this is a 4 cost, 5,000 power, 1k counter, Franky, Odyssey Straw Hat type character with the effect of once per turn. If this character would be KO'd in battle, you may add 1 card from the top of your life cards to your hand instead. I'm not a huge fan of that. Okay, I like that kind of effect in yellow because yellow is the life manipulation, color. I'm not opposed to it, by the way. I still think it's pretty cool because it can save your character. It's going to force them to use double removal to get rid of a character. It's very powerful, and it does warrant the life loss, right, for this kind of effect. But I personally don't really care for this card and what I think you're going to try to do in Odyssey. Like, I don't think this effect is very relevant when it comes to Odyssey. That's really what I'm trying to say. But still, in a vacuum, it's a 4 cost 5k with a 1k counter, and it does have evasion. I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10. The stats are fine. 4 cost 5k. I think everyone's happy with that stat line with the 1k counter attached and the ability to save itself for drawing a card from your life. So I do think this is like a 6.5 out of 10. Really good. Okay, next up we have Brook. Brook is a 3 cost 5,000 power Odyssey Straw Hat character. Another Odyssey card. It has effect on KO. Rest up to one of your opponent's leader or character cards with a cost of 5 or less. Okay. I don't think this is bad at all. That's for sure. I don't think it's bad. 3 costs 5k. On KO, rest up to one of your opponent's leader or characters with a cost of 5 or less. Yeah, that's actually a nuisance, guys. The more I think about it, this card's an absolute nuisance. This card and this card, the Franky that we just saw and this Brook, they're the same level of, like, annoyance to your opponent, where it's like, okay, with Franky, it's like, okay, I have to remove him twice. With Brook, it's like, okay, if I remove him, then I'm going to be punished. So I do like I actually like this card a little bit better than Franky, believe it or not, even though it does not have a 1k counter. It's a nice 3 cost 5k. You're going to want to cheat out right away, and it's going to be a card that tells your opponent, like, hey, do you want to do this? You know, because I'm going to punish you, right? And that will allow you to... excuse me, that will allow you to set up more Odyssey cards so you have multiple Odyssey cards on the board to get the effects off. Yeah, I don't know. I actually like both of them about the same the more I think about it. 3 cost 5k, 4 cost 5k. This one has a 1k counter. This one does not. This has an on KO. This has a way for you to cheat KO once per turn. And it does say, excuse me, hang on. Let me reread this one. If this character would be KO'd in battle, so not by an effect. So, excuse me, this is by, in battle, not by effects. So it can just be straight up removed very easily by an effect. So I don't know. I'm going to put them both around a 6 out of 10, guys. I think they're both around the same caliber of card, maybe 6.5 out of 10. They're not bad at all, but they're also not great. Okay, next card. You guys tell me what y'all think in the comment section below. Okay, really cool looking Perona art here, guys. This looks great. This is a 4 cost 5,000 power 1k counter card. It is an Odyssey Muggy Kingdom Thriller Bark Pirates type character here. The effect is on your turn once per turn. If a character is rested by your effect, set up to one of your Dawn cards as active. Wow. So this goes great with Green-Black Perona the leader, right? Because it says if a character is rested by your effect, set up to one of your Dawn cards as active. And that's just a your turn once per turn. So it's not an on play. It's not an activate main or something. It's like this is sticking around, and you're going to be able to get this value every turn if they don't get rid of it. I like this card. I don't think it's insane. I don't think it's broken, but I think it's like a really solid card. I think it's better than an average card. That's for sure. Like, if you're thinking about like a 4 cost 6k, 1k counter vanilla, would you rather have that or this card? I think this card would be the no-brainer. Like, yeah, you lose 1,000 power, but you get this potentially very powerful effect. And hang on, so let me think about this for a second. I guess like later in the game, let's say it's a 10 Dawn turn, you play out the 8 cost Gecko Moria, and you bring this card back with something else. You can then rest a character with your leader and stand a Dawn up. And if you have multiples of this Perona out, you can stand up multiple Dawn, right? So there is quite a bit of potential there, actually. There's quite a bit of potential. I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. This is a really solid card. This is really cool. And worst case scenario, excuse me, worst case scenario, it's a 4 cost 5k, 1k counter. We'll take it. Okay, next up we have Lim. Okay, this is a 1 cost, 0 power, 1k counter, Odyssey type card. The effect is once per turn. If this character would be removed from your field by your opponent's effect, you may rest one of your Odyssey type characters instead. Wow. Okay, so it totally prevents removal from effects once per turn by resting one of your Odyssey characters. And then end of your turn, set up to one of your Odyssey type characters as active. Okay. Wow. So I'll tell you right now, guys, if this character lands and it sticks, this card could be very, very strong. This card, it can really help you out because it can set up to one of your Odyssey type characters as active. There's no cost restriction on that. So it doesn't have to be like a 3 or 4 cost. Like I think Chopper can only stand up to like a 3 cost or a 4 cost or something. This limb can stand up any cost it says that's an Odyssey type character at the end of your turn. Big fan of this one. I think this is a great card. Great utility card. It's too bad it wasn't a 2K counter because I do feel like this is like in the realm of like 2K counter utility. And because it's not a 2K counter, I'm actually just going to give it a 7 out of 10. If it was a 2K counter, this would be closer to like an 8 or an 8.5 out of 10 for me. But this is, realistically, this feels more like a 6.5 to 7 out of 10. Because think of it like this, guys. You might be thinking like, oh, I'll just play this on turn 1. Remember, it's going to come into play rested. So, well, actually, hang on. At the end of your turn, set up to one of your Odyssey type characters active. Never mind. So this character will be able to stand itself up. That's wild. Actually, hang on, guys. So the more I'm thinking about this, yeah, this card, at the end of your turn, set up to one of your Odyssey type characters as active. So it does protect itself from the limb effect. Yeah, I am going to give this an 8 out of 10. I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. This is actually a really strong card for what we're trying to do, for what you're trying to do with limb. Really, really good card. It doesn't have a lot of presence on the field, but at the same time, it prevents removal, and it also stands characters up at the end of your turn. Really, really good. Okay, really good stuff here. So I'm actually going to give this like an 8 out of 10, guys. Really, really high utility card. Okay, next up we have, this is the alt art. Wait, that's weird. This one was not an SR, but at the same time, it does still have an alt art. Looks really good. Okay, next up we have Zoro. How are we doing on time? We're good on time. Zoro is a 5 cost, 6,000 power, 1K counter, Odyssey, Supernova, Straw Hat Crew. Supernova. Okay, here we go. Opponent's turn. If you have... Okay, hang on. This is on your opponent's turn. If you have 2 or more rested characters, this character gains plus 2,000 power. I don't like that very much. So my problem with this is it's only on your opponent's turn. So in other words, when you swing, it's not plus 2,000. It's on your opponent's turn if you have 2 or more rested characters, and it would count itself if you have 2 or more rested characters. So in other words, if this card's rested and another card is rested, this guy will get plus 2,000. However, if they attack into the smaller guy first and remove that, this guy will drop down to 6,000 like normal. I'm not a huge fan of this one. It's not that it's a bad card. And remember, at the end of the day, in this kind of deck, it's a 3 cost 6K, 1K counter, right? Because you can cheat it out with your leader's effect. I don't think it's a bad card, but I also don't think it's that crazy either. I see what they're trying to go for here. They're trying to make it where it's hard to remove this character, but at the same time, I'm not head over heels about this card. I'm not in love with it. I would give this like I still think it's better than an average card. I'm going to give it a 5.5 out of 10. I think it's just barely better than like a 5 cost 7K would be. Okay, now we're on to the events, guys. We're almost done now. Gum Gum Dragon Fire Pistol Twister Star. That's the name of this event. And this is a 3 cost green Odyssey Supernova Straw Hat Crew type event. Main, if your leader has the Odyssey type, look at 5 cards from the top of your deck and reveal up to 2 Odyssey type character cards and add them to your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. Trigger, rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less. Wow. These double searchers are popping up everywhere, guys. We saw it with Dareshi. Now we're seeing it with, Gum Gum Dragon Fire Pistol Twister Star. I love that name. That name is so good. And then we're also seeing it with that Momonosuke we saw earlier. So it looks like they're really starting to favor this draw 2 idea, or this double searcher idea. I'm not opposed to it. You guys tell me what y'all think in the comment section below, but it seems very powerful, and it can rest a 5 or less for the trigger, and that will hit something like a black-yellow Luffy's 5-cost Sabo, or just name any 5-cost or lower blocker you're trying to get around, and it can rest it. Really strong. Really, really powerful. I'm going to give this card... Man, that is a good searcher, guys. Top 5 search for 2 cards. 8 out of 10. 8 or 8.5 out of 10. Next up, the weak do not have the right to choose how they die. I feel like this was the same name as a card a while back, like with Doflamingo or something. I can't remember, with green purple Dofi. But anyway, this is a 5-cost event. Punk Hazard, 7 Warlords, Heart Pirates. The effect is main or counter, main/counter. KO up to one of your opponent's rested characters with a cost of 7 or less. Okay, well, I can tell you one thing right now, guys. In green-black Issho, wait, is there any restriction? Let me make sure. It's Punk Hazard, 7 Warlords, Heart Pirates. Main/counter, yeah. KO up to one of your opponent's rested characters with a cost of 7 or less. I feel like in green-black Issho, this is just remove any card from the game you want to. Any rested character, just pop it for 5. Because you're gonna be able to, you know, number one, the leader effect alone is gonna drop it to an 8 or less, right? And then any type of extra, if you have the 3-cost Issho on the, or excuse me, the 3-cost Issho, the 8-cost Issho on the board, attach 1 Dawn, and use this effect, you can pop anything in the game. I do think this will be really good in like a green-black Navy style deck. Who knows? But yeah, it's pretty good. That's like the main thing I can say is this seems really strong. I'm trying to think of like ways you could like abuse this more, but just in general, it's good. By the way, just as a 5-cost that pops a 7 or less that's rested as a main or a counter. So understand what that means as a counter, guys. So if your opponent swings with a 7-cost character that's like a, say they loaded up for 20k or something, I don't know, and then you use this effect, you can KO that 7-cost or lower rested character now. And now the battle ends, right? The attack does not go through. I'm going to give this one like a 7 out of 10. Actually, it has no trigger. I'm going to go with a 6.5 out of 10. Is it powerful? Yes, but it has no trigger. It does have some real downsides. Let me say that. It has downsides. It's very expensive. It has no trigger, but a main and a counter to pop a 7 or less, you should not sleep on that. You should not, don't ignore this card, guys, when you're making your green decks. This might be good as a 1 or 2 of in any green deck. Okay, next up we have Radio Knife. That's a really cool name. It's a 4-cost Dressrosa Supernova Heart Pirates type. And the effect is rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 6 or less. Then KO up to one of your opponent's rested characters with a cost of 5 or less. Trigger, rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less. Excuse me. So here's the thing. It looks like this is a new thing they're starting to mess with. Because we saw with Newgate, it can rest a 5 or less and pop a 3 or less. And this card can rest a 6 or less and pop a 5 or less. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I think it's a good card. I think it's very solid. It's 4 costs. I already like it a little bit. I mean, believe it or not, guys, even though it's like it can pop something 2 costs less than what we just saw with this card, with the weak do not have the right to choose how they die. I actually like this one better than this one. I feel like it has more utility and it has a trigger. Guys, triggers come in so clutch. I don't know how else to say it. But this is just an activate main, whereas the other one was a main/counter. Still, just having to use 4 Dawn versus 5 Dawn is already a big enough deal. And the fact that this rests a character and then pops a 5 or less, you can either deal with a 5 or less character just for 4, done, it's gone. Even if it was active, because you can rest it and then KO it with this effect. But you could also rest this guy over here and then KO this guy over here, right? So like you can rest a 6-cost or lower character over here and then pop the other one over here. So I actually like this one a little better than the other the weak do not have the right to choose how they die. I'm gonna give it like a I don't like it much better. I will say that I'll give it like a 6.5 or a 7 out of 10, and I think I gave this a 6 or a 6.5 out of 10. So it's around that range. Okay, now we got some alt arts here. We got Uruj here. This is a 4-cost 5k 1k counter blocker, and then end of your turn, set up to one of your Dawn cards is active. This is an iconic, like, I don't want to say iconic. This is a staple in jewelry bonding, right? Because this allows you to do so very much. Really cool looking art, though, I will say that. See, I don't know the story behind this one because I don't really know the Sky Island stuff all that much. Or actually, this just says Fallen Monk Pirates. So I don't even know what I'm even talking about. There you go, guys. But Supernova Fallen Monk Pirates. It has a very Sky Island feel. I'm just going to say that because he has, like, wings. And there's, like, a sky in the background. And I have no idea what's going on in this picture. He's, like, surrounded by women. This lady does not have any hair, it looks like. And we got this person almost looks like Nami, but I don't think it is. And then we got this person, and then these 2 people in the front here. A really cool picture, very lighthearted, very fun picture. I really like that. Okay, and then back to the leaders. I've already done the leaders. So, guys, you tell me what you think. I'm going to be honest. Green, after looking at all these green cards, I did not even see any bad green cards. Like, even this Kinemon stuff was kind of fun. Like, that could have some potential with the Momonosuke. Every single one of these cards, this is just a vanilla. What was this the worst card I rated? A 5? I rated it a 5 because it's a 5 cost 7K vanilla. I think so, guys. Like, I don't think there were any bad green cards that I saw, to be honest. Like, I think all of these have some type of potential. Green got some really good stuff. Okay? You guys tell me what y'all think in the comment section below. Now, let's go ahead and hop into some games on a game on the sim. We got one game on the sim here. Whoopsies. There we go. We got one game on the sim. Let me go full screen before I adjust my camera. There we go. We got Belo Betty action going on here, guys. We got some red-yellow Belo Betty versus red-purple Luffy. So the volume is off. The speed is on 2x. This is a short game because this is red-yellow Belo Betty after all. But hey, we're going to have a little bit of fun with it. Just a short game for today. Belo Betty's going to grab a Karasu. I even favor Karasu over the 5-cost Ivankov against this matchup. Because if I can drop him down to 5, this guy's in trouble. If I can drop him lower than that, it's over. Okay, here we go. We'll chain these together. Swing 5. Play out this guy to pop that. You could have asked for a better counter to what this guy was doing. I mean, he is already up to 9 Dawn. He's going to play out the Eustace Kid. But here's the problem. We got a problem for him right here. We're going to play out the Ivankov. We're going to play out and then cheat out this guy here. Push this back. Leader effect. We'll trash a card from our hand. And we'll give all of these characters... Actually, hang on. I'm going to do it like this, I guess. Trash that. Give +3, +3, +3. And you guys see where this is going. 6 into 8. And then it's going to be 8 into 5. And then it's going to be 7 into 5. Or, excuse me, 5 into 5. And then 7 into 5. Your turn. There goes his whole hand. I have 3 life. What is he supposed to do? It looks like the answer is try to go for lethal here. So he's trying to go 8 into 5. I'm going to let that one go. I think he has a bit of a mistake. They're going 7 into 4. Because now it's like, okay, if I let that card go, I should be, or excuse me, if I defend out of one of these cards, I should have enough to poke through lethal here. He goes 10 into 5, and then he just surrenders. He gives up. Not much you can do in that situation. I know that was a lightning fast game, guys. It was like 3 minutes long, and then at 2x speed, it was like a minute and a half long. He's got 1k counter in hand. He's getting one more 1k counter out of life. And the thing, like, you know, guess what I'm going to do next turn? I'm going to, it looks like there's a Lindbergh on top of my life. I'm going to trash the Lindbergh, and I'm going to smash in for bare minimum 7s before attaching even a single Dawn with my characters, right? It'd be a 7k Inazuma, an 8k Ivankov, and a 9k, the 5-cost Ivankov. That's a bad situation to be in. Guys, Red Yellow Belo Betty is absolutely explosive, and it's a good time if you know what you're doing. If you learn how to pilot it and you learn what to do against each matchup, learn what cards to use against each matchup, Belo Betty is disgusting. It is absolutely, it's filthy, right, guys? It's gross. Okay, now, let me go ahead and show the deck list real quick so you guys can see what I was playing. It was an OP09 version of the list, but there's not a whole lot of change going on. Okay, so here it is. Y'all already know what the leader is. I'm going to get rid of that so you can see everything on almost everything on 2 lines. Fire Fist, we got 2 of those at the bottom, 2 of the Rush Inazuma, 4 of the Ivankov. See, in Belo Betty, I think this card's insane. In Sabo, it's a little bit technical. It's kind of hard to pull off properly, but it's still very good in there as well. 4 Karasu, 4 Koala, 2 of the 2K, or the 2-cost Kuma, 4 Belo Betty, 4 Morley, 4 Lindbergh, 2 Inazuma, the banished one. This could honestly go up to 2 more of the rush ones. It's up to you. I just like to have a little bit of a variety, especially when you have so much searchers like with the Belo Betty and the Ivankov. 4 Ivankovs. Because let me say that. One more thing I'll say is like, okay, with the searcher, where's the searcher? Belo Betty. It's really nice to grab the rush Inazuma. But with the 5-cost 6k Imperial Ivankov, it's really nice to grab the banish Inazuma. So there is some fluctuation there. 2 Sanji, I just think this is an incredible card. You could also drop this down to 2 of and go up 2 Karasus if you wanted to. 2 Satori, 2 Karasu, the 3-cost, 2 Koala, 4 Kuma, 2 Belo Betty, and the 2 Fire Fists like I was saying. So that's the list, guys. It runs well. I'm not saying this is the best list. A lot of people would prefer to go up more one cost characters. I know that is having the one cost character is a very big deal against certain matchups with Belo Betty, and it's just good to have in general. And just to put in perspective, let me explain the one in particular that's really good for this deck. It is Max Raise. I always want to call him Max Raise. It's Raise Max. He's a one cost 2K, and there's some potential with him to be able to trash him to give minus 3,000 power to a character. And think about if you have Lindbergh on the board or a Kuma in hand or a Fire Fist, if you have low enough life, you can pop some pretty big targets, right? So there is excuse me. There's definitely an argument to go up Raise Max. And I will say this, there's also an argument to go down these two cards, the Satori or the Sanji, if you want to. Because now we do have 8 2K counters within the Revo Army build. And you're going to play this deck kind of like a glass cannon, right? You're not really going to try to save too much. Because you have to use every card in your hand to flood the board. And then trash cards from your hand to give everything, to give 3 characters plus 3,000. Alright, that's it. I'm done, guys. Hope y'all enjoyed. Please do not forget to like and subscribe. Big shout out to everybody who supports the channel. Let me bring that up real quick. Right here. Big shout out to everybody who supports the channel, guys. Whether you're liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting, viewing, whatever you're doing, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Big shout out to all the VV Pirates playmat supporters over here. Hope you guys are enjoying your mat. And then last but not least, with the patrons, thank you guys so much for helping me out, helping out the cause, keeping the dream alive. Really appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. All right, we're done. Like I said, please don't forget to like and subscribe. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please do not hesitate to put them in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed. Until next time, guys. Peace.